The changing world of news. Headlines that you wake up to. News that shapes your day. Stories that matter to you. The latest and most accurate updates. A fresh start to a new day. The Breakfast News, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. on DD India.
G20 नए विचारों की परिकल्पना के लिए और सामूहिक एक्शन को गति देने के लिए एक ग्लोबल प्राइम मूवर की तरह काम करें। वैश्विक विकास महिलाओं की भागीदारी के बिना संभव नहीं है। भारत की G20 अध्यक्षता की थीम वन अर्थ, वन फैमिली, वन फ्यूचर में पूर्ण रूप से समाहित है।
Hello and welcome. It is 7:30 in the evening in India and we are back again with a spotlight on G20. There are 4 G20 events taking place at 3 locations: Run of Kutch, Bengaluru and Guwahati. It's an action-packed day today with ground reports from Shreya Upadhyay in Run of Kutch, Vishal Baristo in Guwahati, Tapas Bhattacharya and Aisha Khanam from Bengaluru. They bring us the latest on G20 meetings on tourism, energy transition and Youth 20 that saw a youth dialogue today between Union Youth Affairs Minister Anurag Singh Thakur and youth delegates in the northeastern city of India. Besides brainstorming sessions on India's Y20 priority areas. We'll get you all the action in a bit. I'm Tapas Bhattacharya. First up, the top stories. The 3-day first G20 Tourism Working Group meeting commences with a side event on rural tourism. In Gujarat's Run of Kutch, Union Tourism Minister G. Kishan Reddy delivers the inaugural address, stresses on the importance of rural tourism in job creation and economic development, says rural tourism empowers rural communities. Three-day G20 Energy Transition Working Group meeting concludes in Bengaluru. On the final day, G20 delegates pay a technical visit to the Pavagara Solar Park, the third largest solar park in the world. Praise India's leadership in implementation of solar energy transition. Delegates also visit 16th century Lepakshi temple, famous for its hanging pillar of Lepakshi. Brainstorming panel discussions take place on the second day of the Y20 Inception meeting in Guwahati on peace building and reconciliation, future of work, climate change, youth and democracy and governance, health, well-being and sports. Youth Affairs Minister Anurag Singh Thakur holds a youth dialogue with young delegates. Union Youth Affairs Minister Anurag Singh Thakur addresses the inaugural session of the Y20 Inception meeting at IIT Guwahati, terms Youth 20 as the best way to amplify the voice of the youth, credits the youth for making the Indian economy the 5th largest in the world, urges them to grab opportunities in emerging sectors of data science, cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. The 3-day first G20 Tourism Working Group meeting started with a side event on rural tourism in Gujarat's Run of Kutch. Union Tourism Minister G. Kishan Reddy in his inaugural address stressed upon the importance of rural tourism in job creation and economic development. Panelists shared their thoughts on ways to strengthen rural tourism and leverage it for community development. Case studies of successful rural tourism models the world over, including from Ladakh, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh and Nagaland, were showcased by the government and industry experts. Here's more on what happened on the first day of the meeting and the expected developments over the next 2 days.
The three-day first G20 Tourism Working Group meeting commenced with a side event on rural tourism in Gujarat's Run of Kutch.
Travel and tourism must not be looked upon only as a medium for discovery and pleasure, but as a lever to enable, empower, employ. Tourism provides a channel for enabling the sale of local products and services, empowering youth and enterprising to become entrepreneurs, employing women and disadvantaged communities such as rural tribes, tribal people and communities. This is especially true when we promote themes like rural tourism and associated elements.
As G20 President, India sees rural tourism as a stimulant of local economic growth, social change and inclusive community development. Rural tourism values and safeguards rural villages, their associated landscapes, knowledge systems, biological and cultural diversity, local values and activities such as agriculture, forestry, livestock and fisheries, including their gastronomy. Another side event that will be organized over 3 days is on promotion of archaeological tourism. Archaeological sites have rich historical and cultural artifacts which provide insightful discoveries regarding ancient civilizations across the world, and India aims to use tourism as a vehicle for promoting awareness about archaeological sites, which can lead to better understanding of cultural heritage of a destination and promotion of economic and social development of local communities. Ministry of Tourism has planned a number of events that not only engage government-level stakeholders but also the travel, trade and hospitality sector. The ministry would be organizing the first Global Tourism Investors Summit in April or May 2023 in New Delhi with the objective of attracting global investment into the Indian tourism and hospitality sector, along with investments in tourism infrastructure, technology, skill development, startups and more. 5 priority areas in the tourism sector have been identified during India's G20 presidency. These will be building blocks for accelerating transition of tourism sector and achieving targets for 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. The 5 priority areas are green tourism, greening of tourism sector for a sustainable, responsible and resilient tourism sector. Digitalization, harnessing the power of digitalization to promote competitiveness, inclusion and sustainability in tourism sector. Skills, empowering youth with skills for jobs and entrepreneurship in tourism sector. Tourism MSMEs, nurturing tourism MSMEs, startups, private sector to unleash innovation and dynamism in tourism sector. Destination management, rethinking the strategic management of destinations towards a holistic approach that delivers on the SDGs. More than 100 delegates have congregated in the wide desert of Run of Kutch for the 3-day meeting. Earlier in the day, they received a traditional Kutchi welcome as they were greeted with folk songs and traditional dances upon arrival at the Bhuj airport. With Bureau Inputs, Shreya Upadhyay's report from Run of Kutch.
And there's a lot happening in Bengaluru as well. The 3-day G20 Energy Transition Working Group meeting has concluded in Bengaluru on the final day. G20 delegates paid a technical visit to the Pavagada Solar Park, which is the 3rd largest solar park in the world. After seeing firsthand India's energy transition efforts, the delegates praised India's leadership, particularly in the implementation of the solar energy transition. Delegates also visited the 16th century Lepakshi temple, which is an archaeological delight famous for its hanging pillar of Lepakshi and the largest monolithic Nandi in India, carved from a single block of stone. Here's more. The first G20 Energy Transition Working Group meeting concluded in Bengaluru on its third day on Tuesday. As part of the working group program, delegates from G20 member countries were taken on a technical visit to one of the largest solar parks in the world. The 2050 megawatt Pavagada solar park was developed under the Government of India scheme for development of solar parks and ultra mega solar power projects introduced in 2014. The Pavagada Solar Park is the third largest solar park in the world. Operational since December 2019, the solar park generates around 4.5 billion units of solar electricity every year and thereby helps in abating carbon dioxide emissions to the tune of 3.6 million tons every year. The park is spread over approximately 12,937 acres of land and is divided into 40 blocks, each of 50 megawatt. Since the region has been declared drought hit by the Karnataka government several times in the past, lease rental from the projects provide a sustained source of income to the farmers. G20 representatives from Australia, Canada, China, France, Germany, Japan, South Africa, Republic of Korea, United Kingdom, Bangladesh, European Union, Egypt, Mauritius, Singapore, Oman, Nigeria, UAE, African Union, World Economic Forum, International Solar Alliance, IRENA and International Energy Forum were part of the visit. G20 delegates praised India's leadership in the implementation of solar energy transition.
I can imagine each minute or second of effort that was put here, in all these carving rocks. So it's really just, you are very happy to have this.
This event is so educating and also very interesting, and that's what also brought us here to see the cultural heritage of, this particular southern part of India.
Delegates could be seen having an immersive experience at the solar park. A Chinese delegate was spotted dancing at the park with artists at a welcome ceremony. The delegates also visited the 16th century Lepakshi temple, also known as Veerbhadraswamy temple, which is a testament to ancient Indian architecture that echoes the Vijayanagara style of design. The temple is famous for its hanging pillar of Lepakshi and the largest monolithic Nandi in India, carved out from a single block of stone. The temple is also adorned by mural paintings, including the largest portrait painting of Veerbhadraswamy in the world on the ceiling of the temple. Aisha Khanam's report from Bengaluru for DD India. DD India correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya spoke to William Ovuraku Aidu, Deputy Minister for Energy of Ghana, on the sidelines of the India Energy Week, the first major energy event under India's G20 presidency in Bengaluru. Listen in.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave an amazing speech on the opening day. Do you think that those are the vision through which even Ghana can move forward in the current scenario?
The Prime Minister is a very visionary leader who, from what I've seen since I've been in India, has energized the whole country. And yesterday his speech was very rousing. And I'll be meeting the Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas tomorrow. And I hope to put before him for India to assist Ghana building our capacity.
Do you see that there will be some sort of a program, some sort of a collaboration that can happen?
To have a country like India who is just exiting to or entering the middle income status, for us to partner with them, we believe India will understand us better than the first world, because we are more or less in the same league. That is the reason why I am here, to try and interest Indian companies, especially the upstream oil companies, to come to Ghana and take advantage of the opportunities in Ghana. I believe the South-South need to come together. And India being a southern country, and like Ghana and most African countries, by coming together, we should be able to have some synergy and in the developmental trajectory of our two countries. So we are very excited that India and Ghana, through this visit, we have some collaboration and that hopefully will help us force the international community to really take us seriously.
That was the Deputy Energy Minister from Ghana saying that the South-South cooperation is the way to go forward, especially with India assuming the presidency of G20. With camera person Mohit, this is Taposh Bhattacharya for DD India from Bangalore.
In an exclusive conversation with DD India correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya, Georges Pierre-Les John Gard, who is the Minister of Energy and Public Utilities of Mauritius, said that under India's G20 presidency, Mauritius and other like-minded countries will find strong leadership. Listen in.
Joining me is Georges Pierre-Les John Gard, the Minister of Energy from Mauritius. He has come to India Energy Week, and I just had a meeting with Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri. First time India Energy Week is happening under G20 presidency of India. How do you feel the whole atmosphere here?
Yeah, it's a very great atmosphere here. I just had a meeting with the Union Minister. It's been a very fruitful meeting. And let me first of all express my heartfelt thanks to the Government of India, first of all for giving Mauritius the opportunity this time to participate in the G20 and also for hosting us for this Energy Week. We have set up very bold targets in Mauritius with regard to energy. And yesterday when I listened to the speech of your Prime Minister Modi ji, we were very impressed by the targets that have been set up by Indian authorities and also what you want to achieve in the future. As for us in Mauritius, we receive a lot of help from India, and this is very important for us because, like I said earlier, we have set very boldful targets in Mauritius where we want to achieve 60% of renewable energy in our energy mix by 2030, and we want to stop burning coal for producing electricity in Mauritius. So we have a roadmap for renewable energy which has been agreed by government and made public in Mauritius, but we need investment from abroad. This is where I believe India can be of great help to us by bringing in, first of all, private companies in Mauritius to invest in renewable energy, but also by helping us in building capacity in the field of renewable energy in Mauritius.
So also India has been leading as a bloc, South-South bloc, and do you believe that it is time that under Prime Minister Modi's leadership, all these countries can come together, especially with G20 under India's presidency? That would be a major game changer for all these countries.
Definitely for us, Mauritius, which is part of SIDS, this will be a game changer for us. At least we can make our voices heard at the level of the G20, and I believe this, with the help of India, will give us an important trust to be able to move forward.
What are the other sectors?
Tengku Mohammad Tawfiq, President and Group CEO of Petronas, met PM Modi yesterday and spoke in glowing terms about his leadership and how India is leading from the front in energy transition in this exclusive conversation with DD India. Listen in.
Joining me is Mr. Tawfiq, who is the Group CEO of Petronas, the major game player when it comes to energy, and we are in India Energy Week of G20 in Bangalore. So, inaugural edition of G20 India Energy Week, and here everybody is talking about India and how it can shape the energy world in the country, in the world. How do you see India as a member, as a country, as a state in terms of energy security, energy justice, and coming together in net neutrality?
Well, this is first off, let me get this out of my chest. It's a great privilege to be here. I think Petronas is very proud to be associated with such forward-looking governments such as the Indian government. We have been an energy and solutions provider for a very long time, stretching to 3 decades now. We've got long relationships with the likes of Indian Oil and Bharat Petroleum, and we've got a JV operating here. The theme of energy security amidst an energy transition which is very much accelerating, if not already here, is the most pertinent challenge for many societies around the world. And today, Excellency Prime Minister Modi introduced the concept of energy justice, which I think is one of the most forward-looking and most logical arguments that developing and emerging economies will have to contend with as they deal with their growth post-pandemic, as they deal with the need to prosper their own people, a growing middle income, higher urbanization, you cannot escape the need for energy consumption to be accompanied by more sustainable practices. But what I do like about the direction of the government, it is not closing one door for one form of energy and opening doors for certain forms of energy. It has been very inclusive. It has assured affordability and reliability and accessibility, particularly in a time when India is recovering, getting into a period where there will be more headwinds in the future. So it is a very forward-looking conference.
Bengaluru is hosting the India Energy Week, and Chef Ranveer cooked khichdi risotto at the Indian Oil stall on Indian Oil's solar cooktop. Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri also joined the chef to encourage people for ways to adopt sustainable cooking. DD India correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya caught up with Chef Ranveer Brar during the event. Listen in.
Joining me is celebrity chef Ranveer Brar to talk about the solar cooktop that have been used. Sir, you used it and you in fact cooked it in a very short period of time. There's a myth that is going on that solar cooktop takes time. Is it true? What is the myth?
So, I have two things to say. One is, not all food is instant coffee. If food is taking time, it is good for you. The whole world now realizes that you can't really short circuit the cooking process, and that's where the solar cooktop really comes in handy. It gives you consistent heat for longer period of time, which is actually good for our kind of food. For me, it says that you've created this keeping the Indian family in mind, the Indian home cooking in mind, Indian cuisine in mind. It's not a concept that's exported from the West, modified for Indian homes. It's a concept created for the Indian home, and that's why I'm here and I'm excited about it, and I completely and totally stand by it.
Indian Oil created this particular product, and Indian Oil for Indian family, and you also spoke about this is the year of millet, and you cooked millet also. Give us some brief on that.
This is now officially the year of the millets as per the government of India, and rightfully so. From the UN down to everybody, we've been speaking about the importance of millets, not just for cooking, but also for the ecosystem. I think at a time when most lands are, bordering semi-aridity, millets are the perfect crop for semi-arid land. Our farmers are going to be better, our farmlands are going to be better, our agriculture ecosystem is going to be more diverse, our soil is going to be richer.
It takes less time to cook also.
Yeah, not all millets take a long time to cook. That's what we spoke about, and I think the Honourable Minister Sir was very. He called it out. And I think it's very important to do that, because sometimes you just pick up an ingredient and generalize it. That's our tendency. We generalize genders, ingredients, and a lot of other things. But I think it is good to break away from that stereotype and say some millets take longer, but some millets also cook faster. Like the millet that we cooked with today was the barnyard millet. That takes 7 odd minutes to cook if you soak it well. And a case in the point that we, when you know less, you judge more. That's all.
Thank you, much appreciated. That was celebrity chef Ranveer Brar telling us the importance of millet, and also showcasing the fact that solar cooktop is the near future, and especially for rural areas. With Campus Amoichashi, this is Tapas Bhattacharya for DD India from India Energy Week from Bengaluru.
The second day of the Youth 20 Inception meeting started in Guwahati with 5 panel discussions on 5 themes, from peace and reconciliation to climate change. The 320 youth delegates spoke their mind in the discussions. The panel discussions are followed by a youth dialogue with Youth Minister Anurag Singh Thakur. DD India correspondent Vishal Baristo reports from Guwahati.
The Y20 Guwahati Conclave saw brainstorming technical sessions on its second day. Speaking on the issue of peace and reconciliation, Union Minister and former Army Chief General V.K. Singh pointed to how internal politics leads to conflicts, and that the youth get carried away by the glamour of conflict.
Youth is the most impressionable age in any community. They are the ones who either get carried away or contribute towards subsequent reconciliation and peacemaking. The Indian approach has been to look at the issues in terms of whether it is just or unjust. It is the approach in which you try to look at what is part of the Constitution and what is not part of the Constitution. Now, with all this combined is the process of reconciliation that starts. Reconciliation which is done with heart in it will succeed.
Speaking on change in Assam, the DGP of the state said that aspirations of the youth of Assam have been identified and are being addressed.
I have seen that the directions have been very clear. The will to identify problems and answering those issues that have been raised by people has been of the highest order, and that is what has brought in the change.
BJP MP Tejasvi Surya said that a prerequisite for peace is involvement of the youth who have received proper guidance, and that, he said, is manifesting under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
The young of the world, who comprise a very important cohort of the demography, are looking towards stable leadership, processes and government structures which they can have faith in, which are transparent, and where they can actually feel that their true full potential can be fulfilled, yet being true to their distinct identities. This has been the hallmark of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's governance.
G20 delegates in Guwahati spoke on how yoga and Ayurveda that promote holistic health are an integral part of India's soft power and are being increasingly embraced by the youth around the world.
Janani Janma Bhumischa Swargadapi Gariyasi. So my Janani is of course India, but my Janma Bhumi is America. I was born there, and my parents are from India, so I believe that by learning the ancient roots of Ayurveda, yoga and other Indian traditional knowledge systems, we can definitely spread the soft power that India has to the world.
Very blown away by how Ayurveda melds the natural world with biological systems in terms of seasonal regimen, daily regimen, and it's an ancient science that incorporates the understanding of the body and mind. So I feel totally at home with it, and I feel that it's holistic in nature, and I feel proud when I share it with other people.
I feel also in the medicinal approach, the Western medicine, the modern medicine should collaborate with the Indian medicine, and in this way we can find more solutions for health preservance but also for treatment of diseased people.
The highlight of the day was a youth dialogue with Youth Minister Anurag Singh Thakur. Earlier, upon his arrival in Guwahati, Union Minister Anurag Singh Thakur termed the hosting of the Youth 20 for the first time in India as quite a prestigious moment for the country.
Amrit Kal is Adhigam Kal. Leap forward and learn from people, places and your failures. Amrit Kal is the Avsar Kal. Take advantage of the plethora of opportunities and seize the day. Amrit Kal is the Kartavya Kal. The mantra of duty towards the nation is first and foremost. If each of us follows the Kartavya Path, the world will definitely attain new heights of development. Youth is the engine which drives the nation towards success.
The famous quote from the Upanishad, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is a family, has attracted and also motivated youth from across the globe, definitely strengthening India's position as a world leader. This is Vishal Baristo for DD India, Guwahati.
Union Youth Affairs Minister Anurag Singh Thakur addressed the inaugural session of the Y20 Inception meeting at IIT Guwahati, where he termed Youth 20 as the best way to amplify the voice of the youth. He credited the youth for making the Indian economy the 5th largest in the world and also urged them to grab opportunities in emerging sectors of data science, cybersecurity and artificial intelligence.
Young people are the largest stakeholders, and they have to play a very important role in the present, and they are the builders of tomorrow. Youth will inherit the future they build, and that is why I urge you to utilize this opportunity to brainstorm and build network wisely. A few weeks ago, Prime Minister Modi underscored that, and I quote, "The runway is ready for youth to take off, whether it is for the economy or education, sports or entrepreneurship, skill development or digitization. You, the youth, now have a mission to make a global impact."
And with that, we come to the close of this edition of India at G20. Thanks for watching.
3 महीने में पैसे डबल? वाह, फास्ट और हाई रिटर्न्स भी। क्या स्कीम है? कल तो नहीं थी यहाँ।
और कल होगा भी नहीं।
तूने कभी 5 ओवर में डबल सेंचुरी मारी है?
ऐसे स्कीम के बहकावे में आके हम धोखा खा सकते हैं।
और आरबीआई कहता है अपना पैसा सुरक्षित रखो और समझदारी से निवेश करो। अगर ज्यादा रिटर्न के पीछे भागोगे तो रिस्क भी उतना ही उठाओगे।
और फास्ट रिटर्न से बच के।
और फास्ट बॉलिंग से भी।